And welcome to The Verdict, where Dave Yates and I will cast our mind back to a brilliant week that was in the world of horse racing. We will start with the Kipco Guineas Festival and then go back to some fantastic action over 5 days from the Punchestown Festival. Dave, no offence, but I'm going to skip the pleasantries here.
I'm taking Tom.
We will get stuck straight in to the action with the Kipco 1000 Guineas because that was most recent. And here we had one nice big field coming down the centre of the track. How satisfying that was, Dave Yates. Let's pick out the winner, Hermosa, who came out of 4. Second came out of 8. And splitting them was Kabbalah, who kept on for a third place finish. Take it away, Dave.
Let's run the action. Right. Well, let's talk about the winner first, Tom. Hermosa, podium form at Group 1 level as a 2-year-old, including went second to Iridessa in the Fillies Mile here at Newmarket. They knew that this filly stayed well. She's a full sister to Hydrangea, of course, a dual Group 1 winner, including in the Fillies and Mares Stakes on Kipco British Champions Day. As you can see here, she leads now behind. Lady Kaya, the runner-up, is just on the outside there, number 10. The favourite Kabbalah is just towards the far side in the blue. You've got Fairyland in the light blue there, another horse of Aidan O'Brien's.
Is Iridessa a little bit keen in the early part of the race, do you think? Red Hat just tracking the pace.
I think she over-races there. Now, towards the back, we've got Just Wonderful. You'll see how she doesn't get the...
I'm gonna stop it when we pan out again. Just bear with me.
Yeah.
Because I know we're going to change our shot here very shortly.
Look how... Right. Just before we start the action again, Angel's Hideaway.
Yes.
She was trying a mile for the first time. You will see when we restart the action how well she travels. She's a horse who had her quirks at 2, but she certainly has lots of ability, as we know. In this race, she travels like the best horse here. Kabbalah is the one next to her stable companion, Mo Juste, the least experienced of the podium horses. She runs, although she loses her unbeaten record, she runs a cracking race in defeat.
And something happens to her here whereby Fairyland just comes over this way a little bit. Conversely, Iridessa goes this way. I'm not sure if that's because of the winner or not. And it means that Kabbalah just has her run shut off ever so slightly, and also Just Wonderful is another one just in here. She almost seems as though she's permanently waiting for a gap. Now, I think over the far side, it's a case of Fairyland having a bit more toe, perhaps, and just coming over and closing that gap. And you can see there's wall of fillies in front of Just Wonderful.
One thing that's worth just pointing at again when we restart the action about Just Wonderful is that when she does get the gap, she does tend to wander about a bit. But certainly, if there is a horse, I think, in this race who didn't get the breaks more than the others, I think it is Just Wonderful. Lady Kaya, a fantastic run there for Sheila Lavery, and again, she travels really well, having won the 1000 Guineas trial at Leopardstown.
Was Kabbalah unlucky?
No, I certainly don't think so. She's run a cracking race. As I say, this was the third outing of her life. She has belied her inexperience against horses who have got more runs under their belt. And I don't think Kabbalah was unlucky. She's run a cracking race in third. I thought Fairyland there, that's the horse just retreating. She looked to me as though she wouldn't be at all inconvenienced by coming back in distance.
Now, Lady Kaya, who you mentioned, she does race on her own for much of the way. Again, are we looking at and marking up her run to any stretch? Or, I mean, it's worth pointing out that really, the 1-2, they were, even though they were slightly away from each other, they were up there throughout.
Yes, I think that rather than saying that Kabbalah was unlucky, I think that Lady Kaya just might have been disadvantaged by racing away from the winner. Look how she travels there under Robbie Colgan. She runs on stoutly as well. It was great to speak to Sheila Lavery afterwards. Yeah. She said, I feel like dancing. Most people, Richard Hannon, of course, had said after saddling the second in the 2000 Guineas, no one remembers the second. She said, well, I'll never forget this. She said how delighted she was. And why not? Because Lady Kaya has run an absolute belter.
Just on the winner, we know she's likely to get further, and they rode her accordingly. It seems as though whether or not she goes to the Curragh, she just looks like a middle distance.
Yes, she does. It was quite interesting that she was quoted as big as 8-1 for the Oaks, because she's trained by Aidan O'Brien. She's a full sister to a Group 1 winner over a mile and a half. She's just won a classic. I thought she'd be shorter than that, I must admit.
And she has now shortened up. She's generally round about the 5-1 mark for the Oaks, and I think that's fair enough based upon what he's likely to do with this filly, Hermosa, who is, of course, a daughter of the only Galileo representative across both of the Guineas, and she got the job done in the 1000.